Hello everyone and welcome back to the chassis variant series for the Atlases. We are, or Atli, would that be the plural? Who cares. So, we're up to the DDC. The DDC was a 2700s design that was unique in the fact that it carried a command console, being apparently the largest mech to be equipped with such at the time in the Star League era. To achieve this, 2 of the rear-firing medium lasers are taken out of the mech, and a single ton of LRM reloads is also removed. However, this allows it to become a very powerful command mech, highly resilient to damage, and capable of crushing all who oppose it, supposedly. Now, in MechWarrior Online terms, for some reason, this became the mech that had ECM. It, to this day, it has not been changed by PGI for reasons we'll never really understand, and as such, many people seem to assume that DDCs come with ECM. Never did. It's always been a weird little quirk I found about this mech, is that it's inadvertently made it the most popular choice because an Atlas with ECM was always the far more desirable option over one that lacked that. Obviously, with the changes when they added targeting computers for the clans and they went back and retroactively fixed the command console, because the command console was originally in MechWarrior Online back in the beta, but it didn't really work properly. I think that's probably the reason they gave it ECM, was to make up for the lack of the command console, and for whatever reason, when they retroactively fixed command consoles to become targeting computers essentially for the inner sphere, they just left the ECM hardpoint in, because I guess by that point it had been so ingrained within the player base that removing it would probably create more confusion than it would sort of answer any questions that people would ask. So yeah, even at the beginning of this round, there's some snarky fucker in another Atlas who says, like, you know, DDC with no ECM, new meta. So I was like, no mate, it's called battletech. Read the fucking books, and maybe, you know, you like educate yourself about this fucking game that you're playing. But outside of that, it pretty much plays exactly the same as a D variant. So it has the AC-20, the LRM-20, and 2 medium lasers rather than 4 with an SRM-6. So it still does a fair amount of damage, it's just a tiny bit more heat efficient, and it comes with a targeting computer, which means you get higher accuracy, greater ballistic travel speed, all that kind of stuff, slightly increased zoom. So yeah, it's a pretty decent choice. Now of course, if you're going to customize it, you're going to put in the ECM. It's there, why wouldn't you use it? And that's the biggest draw of the mech, really. Hardpoint wise, this mech comes with 2 energy, is it 2 energy? Yes, 2 energy, 3 missile and 2 ballistic, so it's probably the most balanced across the board as far as hardpoints are concerned, with all of the missile being in the left torso, both ballistics in the right, and the energy in both arms. Arguably, any of the Atlas that come with 4 energy hardpoints, you could probably remove 2 of them because there's no rear firing weapons, so you can free up a couple of ton. But most people are just going to use it with all the weapons anyway. And yeah, I mean, the DDC doesn't come with any particular bonuses over the others. It has the exact same engine rating, it has the exact same pitch and yaw. Its cost is a tiny bit higher than the D variant, but not by much. And yeah, that's about it really. Obviously they all come with ECM these days. Sorry, AMS these days. Christ, if every mech came with ECM, oh, that'd be a miserable experience, wouldn't it? So yeah, I would recommend it because it's a very good support assault. The ECM does allow you to stick with the other slow moving mechs in your lance, and you'd be able to very easily protect them from incoming fire, and you yourself can deal a fair amount. It's not unusual to see this mech equipped with a few LRM-5s or something like that, with obviously larger ballistics and larger energy weaponry to back it up. And yeah, it's not too bad. I can't remember if I overheated in this or if I got opened up in the back at this point. I can't remember now. Just to give you an insight into the editing process, I can see the footage while I record these narrations, but it's in a tiny window in the top left, and it's kind of difficult to see what's going on sometimes, which is why you may watch something and goes like, but he played this match, you should be able to know. It's like, I can't quite remember every detail sometimes. Plus I start the narrations before the video actually pops up. So yeah. So that was some pointless information for you. So just to drag out, basically trying to fill this this space, the Atlas is damn good. It's well worth picking up. If you haven't tried an Atlas, and let's face it, it's the first assault mech in the game, so if you haven't played it, it's likely because you joined at a later stage, but for a majority of MechWarrior players who were there from the beginning, this will probably have been one of your first assault mechs, if not the first assault mech you ever played. And they haven't needed to tweak it that much because it's been pretty bloody good. Despite the fact that it has the exact same amount of armour as any other 100-tonner, it does seem to feel like it can take a lot more punishment before it drops. And that's part of the thing that makes the Atlas so friggin' scary, is that it's massively resilient. And for that reason alone, it's well worth picking up. Although yes, it does cost a bit. I mean, your average chassis is going to cost you between 9 and 13 million in that kind of price range. So you're going to have to save up, and you're probably going to have to buy double heatsinks and a few other bits and pieces for it, which does whack up the cost, but it is well worth having a go of. And there you go, there goes the side torso. And then I popped. AC-20 ammo got nuked. I think this is the only one I died in, but all of them my team won. So technically it does count toward the Glorious Domination sub-series of the Chassis Variant series, which itself is a sub-series of gameplay videos of the Inner Sphere mechs. So this wraps up the Inner Sphere stuff. Until the Thanatos and Hellspawn come out, which they'll be done and dusted. But yeah, this essentially means the end of the Inner Sphere chassis series. And it'll be moving on to clans in the future. Which will be even more expensive, so looking forward to that. But yeah, we'll be kicking off the clans, going all the way back to the light mechs, and playing with them, going through all the variants, and see what I can build out of the Omnipods. So that should be interesting. So have a good one all, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, see you during the week. Bye!
Left arm destroyed. Large laser destroyed. SRM destroyed.